Seattle's midnight rain pounded on Michael Harris's windshield. As he idled near the Fairmont Olympic Hotel, he watched wealthy strangers vanish into sleek black sedans, their laughter swallowed by the storm. Then she appeared, shattered elegance wrapped in silk, trembling shoulders barely holding her composure. Diamond earrings caught the streetlight as mascara streaked down pale cheeks. She clutched an empty Dom Perignon bottle like a lifeline. For a moment she seemed untouchable, a fallen goddess among shadows. But the fragile whisper, "I'm perfect," betrayed her storm. Michael knew fate had just shifted its course. Michael stepped from his car, rain soaking through his jacket. His gaze never left her. She swayed slightly, glass bottle slipping from her hand, shattering against the pavement. She flinched at the sound as if her world had broken twice. "Are you all right, miss?" Michael's voice was steady, careful. She lifted her eyes, revealing oceans of exhaustion and secrets she hadn't meant to share. For a heartbeat, the city's neon haze blurred around them, leaving only silence and storm. In her fragile hesitation, Michael sensed a truth. She needed saving, though she'd never admit it. The woman hesitated, shivering in the rain. Pride lingered in her posture, yet surrender flickered in her eyes. Michael gestured toward his car. "Let me take you home. This isn't your place tonight." She exhaled, torn between refusal and trust. At last she nodded, stepping toward the open door. Inside, the warmth of the car wrapped her fragile frame. Rain drummed on the roof as neon lights smeared across the window. Neither spoke, but in that silence, a story had begun, one neither could walk away from, no matter how hard they tried. The drive was quiet but not empty. Michael kept glancing at her reflection in the glass, her profile elegant, yet broken, her hands clutching herself as though she might shatter. "Where to?" he finally asked. Her voice was low, cracked. "Anywhere but here." His chest tightened. She wasn't just lost in the city, she was lost in herself. He gripped the wheel tighter, silently vowing to steer her away from whatever storm had left her stranded. Outside, Seattle blurred by. Inside, destiny had seated them side by side, their paths forever entwined. They pulled up at a quiet overlook where city lights shimmered beneath the storm. She exhaled slowly, misting the glass. "I don't even know your name," she whispered. "Michael," he replied, offering his hand, though she didn't take it. "And you?" She hesitated, lips parting before finally saying, "Elena." The name carried weight, as if wrapped in unspoken pain. Silence hung heavy until thunder cracked across the sky. Michael watched her shiver, realizing the night had given him a stranger, but also a responsibility he hadn't asked for, yet couldn't walk away from. Elena's gaze drifted out the window, chasing raindrops down the glass. "People look at me and think I have everything," she murmured. Michael didn't answer, letting her speak. "But they don't see the cages wealth builds, or the hands that tighten chains." Her voice trembled. Michael's jaw clenched. He had seen broken souls before, but never wrapped in silk and diamonds. He wanted to ask questions, but feared breaking the fragile trust forming between them. Instead, he simply said, "You don't have to face it alone anymore." For the first time, her eyes softened. The storm began to ease, but tension inside the car only deepened. Elena leaned back, exhaustion heavy in her posture. "You don't even know me," she whispered. Michael kept his eyes on the road. "Maybe not. But I know what it's like to drown in silence." His words struck her unexpected, intimate. She turned toward him, searching his face. The rain cleared enough to reveal city streets glowing under lamplight. For a fragile moment, she felt less alone, as if Michael had unlocked a door she didn't know she was still guarding. Michael parked near a quiet diner, neon sign flickering against the wet asphalt. "You need food," he said simply. Elena almost laughed, the sound raw. Food at a time like this? But her stomach betrayed her with a faint growl. He held the door open, patient, steady. Reluctantly, she stepped out. Inside, warmth and the smell of coffee embraced them. They sat in a booth across from each other. For the first time, Elena allowed herself to breathe, yet she couldn't shake the feeling. This night was only the beginning of something dangerous. The waitress set down steaming cups of coffee. Elena wrapped her hands around hers, drawing comfort from the heat. Michael studied her quietly, noting how she hid behind elegance even in despair. "So," he asked gently, "what were you running from tonight?" She stared at the dark liquid in her cup, as though answers floated there. Finally, she whispered, "A world that looks golden from the outside, but rots from within." Michael nodded slowly, understanding without pressing. He knew then, whatever storm she carried, it was far from over. Elena's phone buzzed on the table, screen flashing with a name she refused to acknowledge. Panic flickered in her eyes. She quickly silenced it, shoving the device into her purse. Michael noticed but said nothing. Instead, he offered her an out. "You don't have to explain, but if you need someone who doesn't judge, I'm here." She looked at him, startled by his patience. For years, people demanded her perfection. Tonight, a stranger offered her freedom, if only for a moment. And that fragile kindness felt more dangerous than any storm outside. The diner grew quieter as the storm faded beyond its windows. Elena pushed her coffee aside. "Why are you even helping me?" she asked. Michael considered the question, because someone once did the same for me. His tone carried shadows of his own past. Elena's curiosity sparked, but she didn't press further. Instead, she leaned back exhausted. For the first time, Michael saw not just elegance but vulnerability, a woman on the edge. And though he barely knew her, he understood one truth. He couldn't let her fall alone. Michael walked her back to the car. The air smelled of rain and new beginnings. Elena hesitated before getting in. "You'll regret this," she warned softly. Michael shook his head. "I've regretted worse things. Not this." Her lips trembled, almost forming a smile before fading back into silence. As the car rolled forward, Seattle's skyline stretched behind them, fading into the distance. Neither knew where the road would lead, but both felt the pull of something bigger, something neither had expected when the night began. They drove through quiet streets, the city finally sleeping. Elena rested her head against the window, her breath fogging the glass. Michael stole glances, noting the way her defenses lowered when she thought no one watched. She whispered, half asleep, "I wish I could just disappear." Michael's chest tightened. He didn't reply, but his mind screamed. He wouldn't let her fade into shadows. Tonight had bound him to her, though she didn't know it yet. Outside, dawn threatened the horizon. Inside, two strangers inched closer toward fate. The car slowed near a small motel, its neon sign buzzing faintly. "Stay here tonight," Michael suggested. Elena frowned. "Do you think I'm safe anywhere?" He met her gaze firmly. "Safe with me." For a long pause, she studied him, searching for cracks in his resolve. Finding none, she nodded reluctantly. Inside the modest room, the silence between them stretched. She sat on the bed, still dressed in silk, fragile yet strong. For the first time, Elena realized Michael wasn't saving her. He was simply refusing to let her drown. Morning light spilled through thin curtains. Elena stirred, disoriented, finding Michael asleep in the chair by the door. His posture was protective, like a sentinel against unseen threats. For a moment, she just watched him, conflicted. No one had ever stayed for her without expecting something in return. A strange warmth spread through her chest. When Michael's eyes opened, she quickly turned away. "Breakfast?" he offered casually, as if nothing had passed between them. Elena nodded, hiding emotions she wasn't ready to face. Over breakfast at a small cafe, Elena finally asked, "Why were you at that hotel last night?" Michael stirred his coffee. "Work. I drive people who can't drive themselves." She blinked, surprised. "A driver?" He smiled faintly. Among other things, Elena realized then how far their worlds were apart, her life gilded in wealth, his grounded in survival. Yet she felt more at ease with him than anyone else. "Strange," she murmured. "The people I trust least are the ones closest to me. And here you are, a stranger I can't stop trusting." The day unfolded slowly, each moment layered with unspoken truths. Elena shared fragments of her past, pressure from a family name, expectations crushing her spirit, and the controlling fiancé whose shadow haunted her. Michael listened, never interrupting, never judging. His silence gave her the freedom to speak. For once, she wasn't a trophy or an obligation, she was simply Elena. By the time her words faded, tears had already streaked her cheeks. Michael offered no platitudes, only a steady presence. Somehow that was enough to make her believe escape was possible. Elena's phone rang again. This time she couldn't ignore it. Michael watched her stiffen before answering. The voice on the other end was sharp, demanding. She muttered quick replies, her tone submissive. When the call ended, she dropped the phone, trembling. "He won't let me go," she whispered. Michael leaned forward. "Then you don't face him alone." Fear clashed with hope in her eyes. For years she had fought battles in silence. Now for the first time someone stood beside her. The storm wasn't over, but neither was she. That evening, as twilight painted the city, Michael drove Elena to her apartment. She froze at the entrance, fear evident. "He'll be waiting," she murmured. Michael stood tall beside her. "Then let him." Inside, the confrontation unfolded, raised voices, accusations, a man unwilling to lose control. But Michael's presence was unshakable. He didn't need threats. His calm defiance was enough. For the first time, Elena saw her fiancé falter. That night, she realized she wasn't powerless anymore, not with someone who believed in her strength. By dawn, the storm had fully passed. Elena stood on her balcony, city lights fading under morning sun. Michael leaned against the railing, quiet but present. "Why me?" she asked softly. He answered without hesitation. "Because you were worth saving." Tears welled in her eyes, not of sorrow, but of release. She wasn't healed, not yet, but she was no longer alone. Their paths had collided in one stormy night, binding two broken souls into something new. And though the future was uncertain, Elena finally believed this was only the beginning.